that term, the good old boys, it usually boils down to that group of politicians. You know what I'm saying? They come across as good old American boys.
Right.
And really, they are corrupt
Yes.
behind that curtain. And I think he is referring to some of that because of everything that happened in that era. And then he does refer later to the president. We all know that there was corruption there.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And his plan was to save us all from it. To crush the very being of them in his hands and scatter them in the winds. He actually said words very close to that about a certain organization with 3 letters. Any questions around his death became conspiracy theory.
Things would have severely crippled the money powers here.
That's when that term was coined.
It's actually been shown. They were aware of it.
Valuetainment, have you ever watched his channel? He's super smart, dude. But he interviewed this, it was a black dude from Chicago. He had gone to the White House. I think he was like training for Secret Service or something like that. Don't quote me on that because I don't know.
Right.
But he spent right around a month with the president and the first lady. And he heard things while he was there from Secret Service agents.
Right.
Heard right out of their mouths that the president needed to be shot.
Right.
He told somebody what he had heard. And then after he was back in Chicago, he was trying to keep up on it and everything. And one thing I remember, he said the day that he heard that the president had died, basically he just was crushed inside. Right. He's like, I told someone that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And no one did anything to take the proper steps of preventing it. Yeah. And the Secret Service guy that was Jackie's guy that protected her and the kids, he was like a brother to Jackie. In his interview, it's really interesting to watch his too because, of course, he's been asked over the years many times whether or not there was a relationship between him and Jackie. And you can see it in his face. She was like a little sister to him. And he would have given everything to protect her, those kids, and her husband. Right. They were family. He was the one guy that jumped on the car. When you watch that old video, that's him. They had gotten pretty well away from the crowds. They came around that corner. He heard the shot, but with the echo, he said it didn't register right away as a gunshot. It wasn't until it hit the president. And then we get into the how many shooters was there, the magic bullet, and all of that. Because he's watching the crowd, he's scanning the buildings and everything. He looks over right as the president grabs his throat. But he's like in a weird position. His hands are like up at his collarbone, basically. His head's down, and now he's leaning toward his wife. And he basically falls right up against Jackie. And in that split second that all this is happening, it hits him. Crap! That was a bullet! And he runs, jumps on the back of the car. Meanwhile, poor Jackie is leaning over the back, trying to grab pieces of her husband's brain and put it back in his head.
Yeah.
I mean, and right as dude is running up is when the second bullet hits. And it projects it out. He ended up with brain matter on his suit, is how far it threw it. And that happens right as he's jumping on the back of the car. He basically heard that bullet pass his head.
Wow.
I mean,
I hate to be in his shoes.